the empath, the INFJ, the HSP are high value people in society. How can I be so sure in making this statement? I'm going to break it down and help you realize the value you bring to society, even when you feel lost and confused, down, and lacking the motivation to go on and being your kind, generous self. Why? Because we are taken advantage of. We are not usually celebrated by society. Unlike our nemesis, the narcissist, who is elevated and celebrated, we tend to fall into the shadows, experiencing critique. But there are a couple of things that I want to share with you that will guide you along your realization of how valuable you are. One comes from the book, The Tipping Point, from Malcolm Gladwell. And before I break it down, he refers to it as the law of the few. The law of the few. What is the law of the few? Before I share that, the value that you bring as an empath is we have a purpose. We've been given a gift that feels like a burden. And through this gift, we create meaningful, necessary ripple effects in society. You take us out of the equation, society crumbles and falls apart due to elevated egos, hate, narcissism, fear. We are the equalizers, the yin, the yang. We are the equalizers. And we're not here to fix. Your role, your purpose as an empath, as an INFJ, is not to fix. All you can do is through your actions, through your light, is create the ripple effects that impact society, creating the tipping point. Another way of expressing the law of the few, the other theory is called the bystander effect. They're similar yet different. So let me begin with the bystander effect. In a modern study and version of the bystander effect, here's what they did. They had a group of people in a room and a professor comes out pretending to conduct an experiment. And as he sets up the experiment, he clumsily is unable to build a tent. And he's stumbling and fumbling, and within the group, 9 of them are plants, and there's one person who is observing, and nobody else is willing to help. So the one person who's not in on it follows the guide and the example of everybody else and does nothing. Now, what they noticed is that the smaller the group became, the quicker the oblivious person was, the non-plant, the quicker they responded and offered help. When it was simply just them in the room, they helped almost immediately. So here's what happens. The larger the group, the less the kind, the helpers are willing to offer their services because we follow the lead. This is where, as an empath, you have a responsibility, a social responsibility to be the lead, to initiate action, to share your kindness and goodness to create ripple effects. I embrace this responsibility as an honor, and I'm inviting you to do the same, because through your one action of kindness, you inspire others who then inspire others who inspire others, and so forth and so forth. Malcolm Gladwell, in the book The Tipping Point, has a similar experiment. Like I said earlier, he calls it the law of the few. And the simple version of this is he uses the shoe brand Hush Puppies as the example. Hush Puppies were going out of business. They were becoming obsolete. And a fashion designer, a young up-and-coming trend fashion designer, saw an old couple, and the man was wearing Hush Puppies, and he said to the guy, "Wow, what are those shoes? I've never seen those before." "Oh, these are Hush Puppies." And the fashion designer said, "You know what? I'm going to use those shoes in my upcoming event. In my new event, my new launch, I'm going to feature these Hush Puppies," which he does. That exposure to the right type of people, the influencers, we're all familiar with the term influencers, that exposure of this shoe to the right type of people, there were enough of them to create what's called the tipping point. As a result of the law of the few influential, impacted, created ripple effects, inspired the rest who followed suit, and before you knew it, Hush Puppy was once again a well-known household brand, all based on the law of the few. You as an empath, as an INFJ, as a kind-hearted person, you are the law of the few. You are the few. And each time that you go out there and share your generosity, it's exhausting. It might feel like it's going nowhere. It might feel like it's been taken advantage of. But without us in the equation of humanity, it falls apart. We are the law of the few.